Hey, you know what? I was thinking about somebody the other day, and it wasn't very nice what I was thinking. And I was thinking along the lines of, why in the world are they doing this, or why don't they do that? And then it dawned on me that I needed to be careful because you know what the old preachers say: if you're pointing one finger at somebody, you got three more pointing back at you. And then I started thinking, well, there are things in my life I'm not overly proud of. And whenever I was younger, yesterday, I made mistakes. I made some terrible mistakes. Some I'm terribly, terribly sorry and ashamed of and whatnot, like just everybody else just about on the planet. But you tend sometimes forget, and then you have to remember that you got to, I think, hold people responsible for their actions. I think that we have a right to expect them to bear good fruit and do good things, but we also have to temper that. We can't leap to judgment, because sometimes we don't know what's going on with that person, and you don't know what's in a person's heart or what's the motivator behind it. If I think of myself, for example, and I get, sometimes so, I just want to crawl under a rock when I think about maybe some of my choices and some things I've done. But then I try to think, why did I do this and why did I do that? And if I'm in a good place, I can maybe not justify it, but I can understand it. And I guess that's what I'm talking about, is maybe sometimes you can't always justify a thing, but maybe you can understand a thing, which could help you temper judgment. Then the other thing I was thinking about was how I think the universe does bring these things to our attention to try to teach us and to correct us and keep us on the right path and whatnot. And we're sent people to talk to us, or we're sent, coincidences or experiences. And I think that this is supposed to help us to learn and to do better. But then I'm reminded by this other thing that this old preacher said one time about this joke about, and this preacher was wanting to preach really, really strong to get to this one parishioner. And he preached really hard, and the guy, just didn't get it, go right over his head. And he'd just, oh, that's a good sermon, preacher. You really told him. So the preacher got really more specific. And the next time they were there, he tried again to tell him. He's, preached really hard right at him, looked at him. And the guy after church, he walked up and he says, that's a good one, preacher. You sure did tell him. And then the next Sunday, nobody came because there was a snowstorm, but this one guy and the preacher. Well, the preacher, hey, I got you now. There's no way around it. I'm going to get you hear what I'm going to say. So he preached right at him. Nobody else there. After the service, the guy says, that's a good one, preacher. Too bad there wasn't nobody here to hear it. Anyway, the point of this story is sometimes, when you hear things, or, you have experiences, or you have these coincidences, maybe the universe is talking to you, and maybe it's something you don't want to hear. Maybe it's something you don't want to fix about yourself. Maybe them three fingers pointing back, or thinking you're going over your shoulder into somebody else. But, sometimes you have to really think, what can I fix here before I go trying to fix something over there? Okay, that was just my thought for today.